Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. It is me, once again, screaming into the void of the internet. Let's go ahead and get right to the topic. Man, for some reason, I guess I feel like reaching out to, kind of people in the low. And, someone kind of made a comment about how they just can't help but feel like if they had, I guess, a family, that, their life would be better and stuff like that. And I wanted to talk about that because I know a lot of guys are suffering with loneliness and stuff like that. I saw this post and I think I might link the picture as my thumbnail, because I don't really use pictures, and maybe I should. I'm not really trying to blow up or anything. I'm just mainly making these to talk, to vent, keep negative thoughts out of my head, And I get where he's coming from, in the sense, not of family, because I don't really care about having kids, and I don't need a wife, I've never seen any, I'm gonna be honest, I know a lot of guys suffer from the whole, they see relationships and they feel envious, but I'm like, where do you really feel envious? Do you feel envious in life? Because the only instances where I've actually felt like, oh, I'd want that, have been fiction. Because in fiction, the relationship's perfect. And it's because we strive for perfection, which is why in fiction, you usually have people, as perfect as you could imagine a human to be. There's no ugly features, they don't have warts and zits and deformities and stuff like that. They're just perfect, They always have muscles, the chicks are always thick, that kind of thing. But looking at life, I've never really felt like I had a desire for a relationship in terms of that, because when I look at them, it's like I've always seen life as this, there's usually never, your choices always come with trade-offs. Essentially, that's essentially what I'm trying to say. Your choices always come with trade-offs. So you make a decision, and that decision has a consequence, and you have to deal with the trade-off, right? So let's say that, for example, you move to another country because you're after women, and yeah, you probably get a wife, but now you also lose a lot of benefits of American, citizen. Not, and I know, well, what's the benefit of America? Well, obviously, obviously you wouldn't have to put up with this Western bullcrap, but you also get to arm yourself a lot better than a lot of other countries. So, I'm not trying to make this about America. I'm just using that as an example of the analogy of when I see things, I see them as trade-offs, And whenever I've seen a relationship, I've just seen instances where the guys just get nagged, or maybe sometimes it's even the woman getting nagged. Sometimes it's just people just being arsewipes, because for some reason people just feel the need to be difficult. You can't just be pleased with something simple, It's not just enough for you to have, this to eat or something like that. Oh, you're just entitled to some kind of high quality meal, and then you complain about how oh, it doesn't have enough salt, but your fat arse doesn't want to get up and fix it yourself. Well, it's irritating. And no, I'm not talking about instances where the wife's cooking for the husband. I'm just talking about in general, because it's I don't really care who cooks in a relationship. Not that I'm trying to make this about relationship. I'm trying to make this about loneliness and stuff like that in general. Because I'm just gonna say it like this, right? Everyone's effed up in some capacity. I was looking at this guy, Loser Maxing, and I don't really like to mention channels, but I feel like, I watch it because, I can relate to him in a lot of the instances of lack of work. I don't really care about the whole, dating life thing. I feel like people are so open with their dating. It's just, I don't know. I feel like dating should just be you and, the other person, not, you don't have to freaking publicize everything on the internet these days. But, I relate to that content because he's unemployed, and he's not even looking for work anymore, but he's way more, qualified than I am. He's got 2 degrees, and people aren't looking at him. It's effed up, man. But he made a video recently about, his, a girl that he was interested in, how he feels like he blew it and all this stuff, and I'm just like, dude, man, I know that I'm not in a good situation, but I thank God for where I am mentally, because there are just some guys out here that they just feel like it is just the end of the world because they don't have anyone. They don't have anyone at all. And, I'm going to say this, like, guys, you have to be the change that you want to see. Like, if you don't have anyone, consider reaching out to someone and just trying to truly establish a good bond with them. Check up on them, you'd be surprised, and show them what maybe you don't, not what you don't, but what you haven't ever really received, like, when I first told my friend that I love him, platonically, okay, not some nasty bastard's way of thinking, not some cocksucker, like, oh, you here, you just don't have your forgot feelings, no, just that I love him, it took him a while to get used to that. It took him a while to recognize the fact that a man can tell another man that he loves him like a brother, and there's nothing wrong with that. And oftentimes men never hear, I love you, from anyone, which is why they often, I feel like they think it's so important that they go out here and, they get like a woman or something, because they feel like, well, this woman telling me that she loves me will, truly cement it. And you look at divorce, and I'm like, well, look at how that turned out, I kind of feel like what I've learned about life is I'd much rather value the relationship that I have with my best friend than any relationship I'd have with a woman, because let's say that I get a woman right now, like, realistically speaking, really the only way that I'd be able to get one is when my life's in a lot more order. So in other words, she's not with me during this negative time. She's not with me during the building period. She wants to be with me at the finish line, So I value the relationship of my friends, way more than I do the other chick, because he has been with me through the dark times. He's been with me through thick and thin. This chick just came when I had myself together. That's the truth. So I don't really value, their so-called love more than the love of my best friend, essentially. But I'm kind of also trying to talk about the mental state that a lot of guys are in. And I'm gonna ask a question for a lot of guys, for the people who say that, like, this is just misery, this is anguish and stuff like that. I'm gonna ask you a question. If a lot of guys were just getting, their dick sucked off, they were getting their balls drained, and they had a family right now, do you really think that we would look at the issues in our society? Because something that I've noticed is a lot of people, like old-timers, will look back and say, oh, like, things used to be so much better and this, that, and the other. I'm going to say something else, but yeah, but you know what else? You people blindly trusted the government. You blindly trusted them, and it was awful. You sent kids to Nam. You got your sons killed in Nam. In World War II and World War I, like, you trusted your state daddy, you did what they told you to do, and you sent your kids to get ripped apart and kill each other. Like, to this day, we barbarize, German soldiers as if everyone in Germany wanted it, and we idolize American soldiers as if everyone in America was like some kind of saint when they got over there. I can look at all instances where American soldiers struggle snuggled and raped and tortured. Same with everyone, because here's the thing, the nature of humanity, I don't care what anyone says, you can suck these nuts, humanity is evil. You cannot tell me that a creature that is capable of empathy, sympathy, rationality, is fully aware and conscious of what they are doing, and chooses to do inherently despicable crap, how is that not evil? How is that not evil? How is that not evil? That is our nature. We choose to do that. We've always gravitated towards that, and that's why we force ourselves to have rules. Because contrary to what some kind of anarchist cocksucker wants to think, no, we do need some form of rules. Trust, I do think the rules should apply to the people that make them as well, but oftentimes people try and make sure that they do rules for thee, not for me. Including the anarchists, Rules for you, not for me. That's how it works. But here's what I'm trying to get at here, okay? In a lot of these instances where people are thinking that, it's only because times are negative that you really look at, like, everything. You look at the grand picture. Because so many instances where we were I guess, in a better time period, you just trusted the state. You just did whatever they told you to. You didn't question them. And look at where that's really gotten you when you really take the time to think about it. When you really take the time to think about it, that's really screwed us over big time. Because people just said, oh, the state sent some people here to, like, just investigate our health. Next thing you know, they're getting freaking injected with experimental diseases. Oh, the state sent these people over here to, like, check our food. Next thing you know, like, they're getting freaking laced with pesticides and they're being used in an experiment they're not even aware of. Listen, the government is not your friends. And people are going to tell you that you're a conspiracy theorist when you have all of the freaking historical evidence and you can back this up, and it's freaking on documentary. They've admitted that they've done this crap to this day and nothing's ever happened. Unit 731, anyone? Hello? Hello? There are so many instances with war crimes where, like, Americans essentially let the cocksuckers off the hook and then took, like, their experimental, like, datas and stuff that they did after they, experimented on human beings. Excuse me. Tongue-tied. They took the data and then they just let them go. So let me ask again. Could you honestly say that if you were just getting your dick sucked and you were just getting screwed and you had your balls emptied and you had your little family, that you would actually still be trying to hold your government accountable? Or would you just be sucking them off and saying, oh, well, I should just look out, like, for the state because the state's made me happy and this, that, and the other? Listen, I have nothing against patriotism. I think we should want to like our country. We should want. The key word is we should want, not we should. But we also have to look at where we are in terms of how things work. Like, we should look and hold our countries accountable, is what I'm trying to get at. We should hold the country accountable. We should hold the people in charge accountable and say, yeah, I'm not going to just blindly be loyal to you dumb arses just because. I'm not going to do that, and I don't care whose opinion, feels contrary, because too often people who have been massively loyal to this country are who the country takes advantage of the most. And it's not just, I know I'm saying this country because, I'm speaking about America, but this is the truth for all countries. Being fiercely loyal to your country does not mean crap. They will sacrifice you in a minute because they're not the ones on the battlefield. They're not the ones on the battlefield. Like, they'll sacrifice you in a minute. Listen, do you think that if a political leader was stuck in another country, that the country would just sacrifice them? Oh no, they make sure that they get them out, because that person has information and stuff like that, and they'll tell on them. They'll tell all the secrets, and they don't like that. So they make sure that they get them out, that one person. But even if it's like, say, a few 100,000 of their citizens somewhere, they'll sacrifice them in a moment. They don't give a rat's arse. It's effed up. It's effed up indeed. That's why I encourage you, one of the most important things I feel like you should do with your life, if you're really seeking truth about this world and you're really seeking stuff, is study history, dude. Study history, study it well. Know and learn that there is no freaking perfect government. There's no perfect group of people. Everyone everywhere does effed up stuff, because that's just human nature. No one can tell me otherwise. Everyone everywhere does effed up stuff. And the sooner that you accept it, the better you'll be, because it'll be harder for someone to take advantage of you. I have accepted this about the world, dude. One of the best things that has occurred through the unfortunate situation that we find ourselves in right now, okay? One of the best things that has happened to us is mainly the fact that we don't have to just blindly trust our government, We look at what they do and we come to the conclusion that they are absolutely 100% anything but trustworthy. There is no instance, for the most part, looking at it now, that we should ever fall back on just trusting them with their word. We should trust them through their actions. They need to prove to us that they are honestly not trying to screw us over. That's what they need to do. And oftentimes, they fail. They fail miserably. And it's taken the fact that a lot of us are a bit miserable and unhappy to say, you know what? No, I'm not going to trust you. Because even in instances where these people were saying, oh, America's amazing, America's this, that, Look at the Great Depression. They trusted America with the money. You know, they trusted the central government and stuff like that with the banks, and they lost all that money. Great Depression. Hello. Look at people right now. They can't afford to live, and they're looking at freaking invaders come into this country and get put in hotels. Shelters that say migrant only are in this country right now. People who are starving in this country are looking at immigrants come here and get all the food and monthly paychecks. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, that's just the blue parts of the country. No. I can tell you straight up, even in Florida, dude, as much as people want to suck off DeSantis, not even close, dude. Not even close. Listen, I'm still seeing people here that really shouldn't be here. Just being honest, they can't speak one word of English. They still have Spanish only. That's right. They still have instances where they're somehow getting housing, even though they don't technically have citizenship. They don't have an ID or anything. Yeah. You gotta wonder. It's not just, some kind of, oh, it's only just a red state. We don't have to worry about that. That's not true. That is not true at all. I see a cat over here. I hope it's not about to try nothing with me. I like cats, but you never know what you're dealing with these days with them. Considering what's going around these days. Diseases and all this crap. Everything about life has just gotten more crappier over the years, It really has. But I'm going to go ahead and try and wrap this up. Okay, I do think that it's only because we're a bit more miserable, right? That we're willing to look at truth. Because if you had your family and all this good stuff, you probably wouldn't look at it as much, And even if it was happening, you'd still probably just kind of conflate it to, oh, well, I've already got kids and they're expensive, and so it's only natural that as they're aging, they need more stuff and this, that, and the other, And as I'm aging, I need to pay for more stuff because I need my health and whatnot. But it's only now, because we're young, and, we're seeing what the world is doing to us right now, that we can look at that and we can go, yeah, we got a lot of problems, and we need to do something about it. What? Well, I kind of say the tree of liberty needs watering. But unfortunately, people, and this is something else. I think people are so, for this world to say that they're so nihilistic, it's hilarious to me, because they're also, completely unwilling to fight. They're such defeatists that, okay, I'm going to acknowledge a problem, but I'm also going to pretend oh, it's not worth fighting. What do you mean it's not worth fighting? Yeah, I mean, if your life's meaningless as much as it is, and listen, because I'll say this straight up, listen, if it was Tree of Liberty time, hockey mask time, right? If it was Tree of Liberty time, I don't really care if I make it or not. I'm not obsessed with life past its usefulness. I'm not obsessed with, living to be, freaking 80 years old, watching my body deteriorate and pissing in a freaking catheter and crapping a bed and having someone freaking abuse me in a nursing home. How do I know that? Well, that was one of my first jobs. Yes, I was a caretaker. So I have gotten to look at people, in their last moments, essentially. It cannot be me. That's all I'm going to say. If I had anything to say about it, it's not going to be me. I don't really need to live to be that old. I would really be fine just kind of kicking the bucket at 50. 60 at most, but 50 seems pretty fine. And I've seen some guys say that, they look amazing at 50 and stuff like that. And I don't know. The way that I look now, who knows? I might, because, I'll say it like this, dude. I'm, 25. I'm going to be 26 this year. And people still say I look 17. And it's not really because, I'm trying to look young or anything. It's just, I feel like I've just become so numb that even when I'm stressed, I just don't let it get to me. And, I just take care of my skin, I guess. That's about it. It's not like I do some kind of complex routine. I just lotion and wash my arse, I guess. And I just look for my age, Am I saying I'm handsome? I'm not saying I'm handsome. I'm just saying, I look young. I have a very youthful energy visually. But mentally speaking, I'm sure that you can listen to me and you'll probably think I'm a lot older than I am. Just based on the stuff I talk about, not my voice, because my voice also sounds very young. So I'm not really going to complain about that either. Because that's one thing that I said, like, at least when I'm older, I hopefully should still, look younger. But like I said, even if I looked amazing at 50 or something, dude, I'm ready to go at that point. Like, dealing with these cocksuckers is it's just draining. It's just draining. It's not something I really want. But I just think it's funny that someone who is so nihilistic is also completely clinging to life, Oh, I want a rope. I want to, like, go gas myself or something like that. Like, if that's really the case, if you really don't care about surviving that much, why don't we just go and get the cocksuckers that are screwing everything up? Like, you have to think about it. It's worth asking. I'm sure that CuckTube's going to say that I'm advocating that I go storm somewhere and whatnot, But that's not the truth. It's a warranted question. If someone's making you miserable, like this idea that you're supposed to never retaliate, like that's horse crap. That's not in your nature. Your nature is to retaliate because that's how you make the problem go away. Do you think that we got a lion or a tiger or a bear to stop effing with us by like just curling up and doing nothing? No, you did something. You started throwing rocks. You started grabbing sticks and sharpening them into spears and hunting them cocksuckers down. That's what happened. You make things leave you alone by retaliating. So I don't really understand why people have adopted this freaking pussified, just curl up and accept it thing. It just doesn't work, not by any means. But yeah, we cling to life. As much as we say it's nihilistic and stuff like that, and there's no purpose, we cling to it instead of going after the bastards that are screwing life up. It's worth thinking about. And like I said, the only reason why we even think about it now is because of how cancerous life has become, in our opinion, It's always had issues, but I'd argue a lot now more than ever, it's just insufferable. But in a lot of ways, here's what I'd say when you think about it. America, because I am in America, it seems like we're just gonna become the next third world country. For the longest time, you just thought it was never gonna happen to America, but looks like it's gonna happen. It's unfortunate. I do still think that there are ways that you can get around it, but home ownership ain't really looking like that's a possibility right now. Affording a family, not looking like that's a possibility right now. These are things that you got to think about. These are things you're gonna have to accept. Maybe not accept. I don't want to say, but accept. But like, if you're going to do it, you have to think outside the box. Because, like I said, like there are just guys that are just saying, "Hey, I'm just gonna work here for like 20 years and just retire in another country," and hopefully, I've said my plan last video. I think I'll either build a small little home or I think I'll just live on a boat. Because that's way cheaper in the grand scheme. Even if that boat was, let's just say $100,000. Even though I don't really think I'll get one. Like, I just want a little houseboat, Just a little houseboat. It doesn't need to be long because I don't plan on having family, What I do is, here's what I do, okay? I would simply get that little houseboat and just chill on it for the most part. And I just go inland when I need groceries and stuff. I mainly stock on like canned goods and stuff. There's a whole freaking helicopter. Hold up. Always something in this freaking neighborhood, man. It really is. And so this whole other reason I freaking hate this neighborhood. That's why when I see you guys talking about, hey man, I'm just gonna do nothing forever, no, dude, I just can't. Not here, man. Maybe if you were like in some kind of suburban neighborhood, it's a little bit easier for you, but not here, not me. I'm in the freaking hood. I'm in the slums. It's AIDS. I have to get out of here. But I was just saying, like, just a little houseboat. Yeah, that seems like it could work. Because, like I said, it's way cheaper than like buying a house. Unless you're trying to go for like some kind of super luxury yacht crap. I'm not really going for that. Just something manageable. Like, even if it's like essentially just maybe like the size of a 2-room, not a 2-room, but like 2 rooms, maybe like that. That's fine with me. Don't need a family. I don't need no freaking girlfriend or crap like that. You know? Just so long as I'm content. And then think about it. I've got the house on, not wheels, but I've got a house that I can just move around whenever I see fit. Stuff like that. So, yeah. You just got to think outside the box, you know. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it there. So just think about it, guys. Think about it. I ask you, you know, like, is it not because of how miserable life has become that we're thinking about the stuff and looking at the issues that have always been present? Because when people think that life is good, they aren't really looking to hold their society accountable. It's only when it's bad that they're... Because listen, don't think that just because, like, we were in a better time that the governments weren't doing this crap. You can look at, like, these freaking experiments, and they go back a long time. You know, they go back... America interfering with other countries, America's experimenting on their own citizens, and this is just America. Just think about all the other countries and stuff like that. Think about what their governments did to them, what they freaking experimented on them with, the wars that they sent their sons to go and die for. Think about it, man. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave it here. Hope you guys enjoyed. God bless. I'll see you in the next one.